Say some things that might be usable for the intro. Let's do that.
Say the podcast name, say our names, and then share what we think it is.
I think we got it.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to It's
It's
Happening
happening
for You.
for you.
This is It's Happening for You, the podcast with Robin Meharry and
Stephanie Lentini. We love you.
love you. And then the music. The music begins.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, Steph. Okay, wait, I have to tell you something so funny. So when we talked, was that Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday. It feels like Sunday, but it was Saturday. Um, and I didn't know for like a big portion of I don't even know how long of the conversation, but Julian was sitting in the other room, which you can't see, but we have like a barn door, like
Uh-huh.
from separating these rooms. So there's no sound insulation at all.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, that's so funny because we talked about so much on Saturday and like so random.
We're talking about all sorts of stuff.
I'm like, I don't know what he heard.
I didn't even
Nor do I
download
care.
I didn't even download it from Zoom and upload it yet. I was like, I don't know what we
I
talked
know.
about. I
Yeah.
don't.
There's so much.
I know. And we talked for like 3 hours.
Oh, it was so great. I loved it.
It was. Yeah.
It was
Yeah. And
so
you learned a lot
fun.
about Thomas and I.
Yeah, I did. I did. That was awesome. I loved it. So fun. It was just so fun to get to know you more.
I
I
know.
love it. I love it. This
I
is like
know.
literally the best. I am been so emotional for like the last week. Like I even saying that I could just cry.
You could cry.
I just
Oh,
feel so thankful. It's so fun. It's like how fucking cool is this?
I know.
Like you said, I think you said either last time or two times ago, like we're becoming best friends through
We
this. And it's
are.
like this is so cool. Like that's
I
so
know.
fun.
So unique.
I know it really is. So I love it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I've been focusing on other things and could sort of feel like what you were saying when you just didn't have like a lot of attention for
Mhm.
this project because you were focusing on other things.
Whoops.
But yeah, we were moving, and then yesterday Thomas finally got on the road, and so just like focusing there on that transition,
Oh my God, he went to Colorado.
Yes, he left yesterday afternoon.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. Wait, and then when when are you moving into your new place? Did you just say you did?
No, well,
That's at
which
the end of
one?
May.
Which new place are you talking about?
I know, right? You have so many homes all over the world at this
All of a
point.
sudden. Yeah.
I mean the place there in Vegas, but or outside of Vegas. But I think you said originally it was at the end of May that you were gonna move into that, or
We
am I
were
wrong?
going to move in actually early May, but the
Oh.
occupancy permits haven't been finalized. It's not legally livable
Ah.
yet.
Oh, because it's new.
It's new. Whenever I tell
Ah.
people that, they're like, "Wait, is this a new build?" And I'm like, "Yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So cool.
No
I
one's
love
ever
it.
lived in it."
Yeah, that's so fun.
And it's
That
not
just feels
legal to
so
be lived
good.
in. I know it does. Yeah. Whenever I
Okay.
say it out loud and people reflect that back, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's really fucking cool."
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the contractor needs to finalize the occupancy permits as well as some of the projects. And
Mm.
it's perfect because I didn't want to move in until the end of the summer. We asked her initially if we could move in at the end of the summer.
Ah,
And she was like, "Well, I'd prefer people in sooner rather than later."
I got it. Oh, how funny. How that all is happening for you again.
I know, it's really cool. And I'm like there was not like one lick of like nervousness or fear or anything
Yeah.
about it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is literally perfect and happening for us." And I feel like also happening for Jean because Jean's the homeowner. Like I don't know without someone desiring to live in there and desiring to go through the desiring enough to live in there that they would go through the process of like getting it legal and finalized with
Yeah.
her. You know, I don't know that this would get done or when it would get done. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's been finished for a year. So
Wow. Oh, I didn't realize that.
it's been finished. It's been at the place that it's at for about a year now.
What, why? Like, why would
They're
there was
just
no
waiting
move?
for us.
Wow.
Whatever I
Yeah.
like, people attempted to finalize it, and who knows, like honestly, I'm like actually not even attached to living there, which feels
Wow.
really good.
Yes. Oh my
Like
gosh. Yes.
if I check in with my stomach when I think
Yeah.
about it, which is a funny thing to say, but like I often can sense like
Yeah.
attachment in my stomach. There,
Mm-hmm.
it's really calm. It's like a serene lake,
Mm.
and I
Mm.
feel like
Oh, that's so
um
cool.
quite neutral. Like we could live there, we could not. We could help get the occupancy permits finalized and move in. We could help get them finalized and not move in. Like
Yeah.
we could not ever talk to Gene again. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's a part that just like it does there I'm very neutral about it at this point. I
That's
feel like
awesome.
the experience already showed me enough that I can have whatever I want. I don't know, like I know that's
Oh,
like
I love
we say
it.
that all the time, and there's lots of things that like I know that to be true
Yeah.
on, but this housing situation has been like the
Mm,
most
the
clear evidence of that to me that it, like maybe I've
epitome.
ever seen ever, because it felt kind of like a gap back in Feb, and you know, I like gradually closed the gap, and now it's like, oh, okay, so like jeans or something else, like this brand new garage apartment or something else that's even better, or
Yes. Yeah.
you know,
This or something better. This or something
yeah,
better. Yeah.
like of course what we want is on our wage list, and we'll have it when we need it, and that's I
Exactly.
think an important thing
Yes.
that I've been like um sort of feeling into too, is like, you know, we don't need it now. And
Mm-mm.
I almost was like feeling a sense of urgency of moving the bed that Michelle told us that we could
Oh,
have.
right.
You know, like, oh, well, she said we could have it, and maybe I should move it before I leave. And then I was like, "Oh, we don't need a bed.
Yeah.
Like, let me
Yeah.
just leave it, and it could be that bed or another bed. It could be free or not free. It doesn't really matter, but we'll have
Yeah.
a bed when we need a bed.
Yes. Yes.
I don't need to
Yes.
I don't need to carry everything
Control
with
it.
me, or yeah, exactly. Like try to control the situation to ensure that I'll have it in the future,
Ah, yes. This
right?
is so fucking good. I love it so much. It's so good. It feels so
I
good.
know. It feels so good. Oh my gosh. I just like
I
wow.
love it. I love it. I like resonate with so much that you're saying for myself as well.
Tell me
Um,
more.
but okay, wait, there was something I was gonna, there's so much like coming through as you're talking. It feels
Yeah.
just so expansive. But before I even like go into that, I'm just also very curious about then. So Thomas left yesterday, you said, or
Yes.
today?
Thomas
Yesterday.
left yesterday afternoon.
Okay. And then so now what's your plan or
Oh, I guess
general?
I didn't tell you, but like a week and a half ago, a week and a half ago, um, he was like, "Well, why don't you just stay at Michelle's until the end of the month? That's where we currently live."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God." It felt like the most relieving thought I've ever been offered. I was like, "Of course." Like
Mm.
sh originally she was like, "You guys can stay till July." She does have a
Oh,
date that
okay.
she doesn't wanna have roommates anymore because her partner's gonna move in here.
Okay. I remember you mentioning that. I didn't know the date around it, but I
It
know
was
that she,
July.
okay.
And
Okay.
then I told her we're leaving early May, but I like, when Thomas said that, I was like, "Duh."
Yeah.
Like, hello. And this was before we
Yes.
even knew that the occupancy permit wasn't finalized. So
Okay.
at the time that Thomas suggested that, was thinking we were going to be moving everything into the new place. And I was
Mm,
like, I was kind of like, ooh, that sounds like really, really rushed.
yeah.
It just felt fast and rushed. And I was like, ooh, it didn't feel fully good.
Yeah.
Um, and so when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And like I mean, we didn't even pay a full month's rent because we asked if we could just take our security deposit out of it. So
Oh,
we ended up just
perfect.
paying like $200 each for me to
Oh,
stay here for all of May.
oh, awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. And even that felt like so abundant.
Mm,
We typically move together, whether we have two cars or we have just the van. We typically move together. We typically take all of our stuff as
yeah.
well. And like this year, I was just like inviting so much more ease into the experience. And like the move was just a few days of us organizing and packing and going to the storage unit.
Mm.
And the back of the van this time actually has like space in it.
Oh,
It's like
so
it has a
nice.
lot of stuff, but it's not like packed to the brim, you know.
Yep.
And typically when we move, it's like we have my crash pad on the bed and things inside the main van cabin that
Yep.
like don't really want just floating around, but they don't have a space. And and this time it's been just a new experience of like, oh, Thomas is leaving and he's taking the van because he's going to stay in it for the next few weeks. And I'm really
Mm.
excited for him. Like he's he met a friend camping last
Okay.
night and they're
Oh,
climbing today and tomorrow. And I'm like, I love that for him.
love that. Perfect.
I love it so much for him, and then he's gonna
Oh,
go and, see his favorite band in Colorado, and he has tickets for Saturday night, but he doesn't have them for Friday, and he loves to try to go get, like, not scalper
yeah.
tickets, but, like,
Yeah.
free tickets or people who are selling who have an extra at the show. He just loves to go. It's at Red Rock Amphitheater,
Oh,
so he's gonna, like, run this is his thing, but I it's not my thing.
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
wanna run around Red Rocks Amphitheater on a Friday night looking for a ticket,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
his thing. So, like, I love that he's going and doing his thing and that I'm, like, staying and I've got the little hybrid and I've got BB still as well.
Oh,
Um, it just
cool.
feels, like, luxurious and slow and easy, and I just keep,
Mm.
like, opening up to, like, "Oh, wait, what do I want?" You know? Like, that
Yeah.
continuous question of, like, not what do we usually do?
Yes.
Or what's the
Yes.
first thing that's occurring to me as like the option, like what in this realm of possibility do I want? And
Yes.
and then yeah, so that's the deal is like I'm staying here until I feel like leaving, which will be sometime at the end of May. And
Great.
then we will start renting our tiny house as of June 1st in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. And you'll head over there at that point?
Yeah, I'll leave
Okay.
here at sometime at the end of May, and I'm like still dreaming. It's far enough off that I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to go camping for a few days. I might visit a friend in Flagstaff. I might
Cool.
just at that point want to go be with Thomas and be in
Yeah.
Colorado. So I'm not a big planner anymore.
Yeah. I know. Right.
I like to just,
Same.
even if I think I know what I'm going to want to do at the
Yeah.
end of May, like I don't know what I want to do
No, you won't know until sooner.
until
Like
it's
right in
like
this moment, this is
ripe.
what the general feeling energy is pulling you towards, but that could change at any moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I feel the same way in planning. So I always just say that like in this moment, this is how this feels, but that could change.
Exactly.
And I'm open to it changing because I know that it's changing always for something better that's
Yeah.
coming through. So I just follow that now.
Yeah. It's something that I like to talk with people a lot about is like how your timelines begin to shorten as your trust in knowing increases or your tuned
Yes.
inness to your own guidance really gets like solidified. Like
Yep.
your timelines shorten in terms of how far off you look
Yep. Yeah,
and plan for.
totally. Yeah.
It's really cool. It's like it just keeps like creeping closer and I've never been much of a long-term planner, but a
Yeah.
long-term looker aheader maybe. But not a
Yeah.
planner. And I
Same.
feel like now it's sort of like, what do I want to do like in this minute?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is
Mm-hmm.
there a trip maybe that I'm considering for this upcoming season, but also like, I don't know, I don't tend to plan much beyond like right now.
Yeah.
And there's no planning that has to go into right now. It's just a question, an invitation. What do I want to do
Yeah.
right now?
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. What feels good right now.
Yeah.
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 Mm. Mm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Okay, I got the pulse on your general whereabouts for the next couple months.
Hmm. Yeah. Colorado till
Cool.
mid-August. Um, Thomas will be going to Wyoming in August. And
Okay.
that's one of the trips that I'm like, what do I want to do at any point in the summer? I've been dreaming more about backpacking, and I'm like, maybe I'll take a trip in
Oh.
June. Maybe I'll do a July trip. Maybe I'll do
Oh,
it in August.
cool.
Who
Awesome.
knows? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. That all feels so good. Ah, exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Really
Yeah.
good stuff.
Thank you.
Cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, awesome. So now it's like possibly back to Vegas in at the end of August, September.
Yeah, I don't think that doesn't seem like a yes, but yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
Definitely in the fall. We'll be
yeah.
back
Okay.
in Vegas in the fall. This is for now where we do year rounding,
Yeah.
more 3 of the months out of the year. So,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and jeans or something better.
Yes. Yes. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Cool.
how's your consideration of your own trips been coming along? You've been thinking about Tuscany,
Tuscany and England,
England.
and that all still feels like a big yes.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Something, so I think I mentioned to you last time that how it's like when I feel into the trip itself, it's like big yes,
Yes.
right? And
Exactly.
then the only resistance that I was feeling was around financial,
Yeah.
you know,
Purchasing the flights specifically, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And the reality of the situation is that I have the cash, I have the money to do so.
Mhm.
And it's like there was this kind of mindset of like, okay, it's time to start focusing my money on paying down my debt. It's
Mhm.
kind of like this belief that I've had recently, let's
Yeah.
call it, my thoughts I've been having around my money around it.
Exactly.
And
The projected timeline of money.
exactly. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like the structure around it, like the
Yes.
planning and the organizing around it, that is
Yes.
kind of like I even found this is so funny. Okay, there's two things to tell you. So even last night before going to bed, you know how our mind that's what our minds like or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, tomorrow I should look at what credit cards have the highest interest, pay that one off first. I should start
Yeah.
going, okay, this much to that, this and like start planning, start
Yes.
organizing. And like that's like not really how I flow anymore.
Yeah.
And not to say I'm irresponsible. Like I have automatic payments set up and all that stuff. So everything's getting paid, but like when I go even as I'm talking about it, I feel resistance in my body, you
You can
know?
feel the guidance of the like not like it feels not good.
It doesn't feel good.
It
So,
feels yeah. Okay, go ahead.
with that being said, so this, I mean, because I haven't thought like that for a very long time.
Mhm.
So that is like a bit abnormal at this point, right? Which
Mhm.
was used to be my normal, now it's abnormal, which is kind of cool to reflect on. But then this morning I had a session with Kim, intuitive
Yes.
counselor Kim in Nashville, and one of the first things that came through, so how Kim structures her sessions is that she has a meditation prior, and we've been working together long enough that she kind of knows. I think this is normal for everybody, but she knows kind of the topics I want to hit. Usually
Yeah.
it's like finance, career, romance, relationships, living situations, that kind of stuff, right? So she kind of
Totally.
get that's the information she usually receives anyways, but she'll do a meditation prior, and then it's more of like I show up. I'm not like, unless I have a really direct question, usually I just like to hear what's come through her
Mm,
intuition, through her
cool.
guides. So she right off the bat was like, there's something with money coming through and like organizing and like kind of like old belief around this and giving yourself permission to release that.
Mm,
And it was so funny. I was like, that's hilarious because just last night I was having these thoughts, and then we had the whole discussion about abundance and whatnot. So I'll share that as well. But um it's just funny to reflect on like, oh wow, that old way of believing and thinking where it's like it's like that old kind of like, oh, I'm not being responsible if I'm
yeah.
not doing this, right? I'm
Yeah.
being irresponsible by not like reflecting on this and working on taking down my debt right now and blah 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 blah. All that
Yes.
is just bullshit. I mean, that's not
I used to think
who's
that about the news. Like that was a story that I felt
interesting.
uncomfortable with. My dad would reflect it back and be like, I'm not being a responsible citizen if I'm not watching the news, which now I
Yes.
don't believe that.
Yes.
I feel like I'm being a responsible citizen by actually not
Yes.
watching the
Oh my
news.
gosh. Resonate with that completely. I feel the same exact way with the news. Completely. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's funny.
But I know
Yes,
what you mean.
exactly.
Like that old story of like, yeah, it's responsible to look at things and
Yeah.
not bury your head in the sand and so on, and that can be applied to finances too.
Yes. Yes. So, and I think, I mentioned to you, I was like, okay, this is a trip that feels, yes, there's creative ways. Like,
Yes.
if we're in that belief, if in that knowing that we are naturally abundant and that we can allow it all to come to us.
Hmm.
I was in that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, if this trip is to happen, I would like some more cash flow to support that, then so it is like, and
Yeah.
it is like, I can that do fun giveaways or something, or I was going to feel into all of that.
Yeah.
And then it was fun because then yesterday, because the unit I'm in right now with Charlie and Julian and I, and us kind of like figuring out schedules and watching the baby and stuff. Basically, it's like over the summer we'll be in Switzerland and be in France for a month, and we're going to figure out our schedule with that. But then Julian's going to stay in Switzerland while Charlie and I come back with the baby. So during
Mm-hmm.
that July month, I'm actually going to be putting more hours in, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's going to compensate for the time that I'm taking off in August so that I
Mm-hmm.
get my regular paycheck still, in
Mm-hmm.
August,
Oh,
which is
cool.
awesome. But then even on top of that, Julian, yesterday I was talking to him and I was saying, because it's kind of like Julian's month is July, mine is August. And it's like, well, Charlie needs like a month where it's like for her. And so we decided like May is where like Julian and I can put in more effort now so that she can get some relief right now because she's going to
Fun.
be kind of like on the back end of this, right?
Yeah.
And Julian was saying, he was like, I appreciate like the kindness of your heart of like giving more hours and whatnot to help this like flow of our unit. But he's like, also, I'm totally willing to pay you more for the
Awesome.
hours that
Put in
contribute
more.
more.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh no, okay, yeah. And then I thought about it later and I was like, wait, this is exactly what I was calling in.
This is what I was
Like,
asking for.
like I was asking for an easy, effortless way to
Yes.
have more cash flow come in so that I just feel really abundant and flowing taking this trip.
Yes.
And there it is. And so I went back to him. I was like, hey, what you said, I want to say I am totally down because this is what I'm creating right now. And I would
Yes.
love if there's
That feels great.
that feels great. So I welcome that. And then
Yes.
Charlie heard and she was like, oh, absolutely. And I was like, okay, this feels so good,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And it feels
So
good for them too.
exactly. It feels good for everybody. And it's just like important. I, used to be that type of person that would be like, oh, no, no. you don't have to do that or whatever. And now I'm like, I'm getting really comfortable saying yes to receiving.
Oh,
Like, yes, I receive that. Like, yes. Even like even this is like a silly thing, but this is great too, is that when we were like doing stuff in my room, this mattress, like Charlie laid down on it and she was like, "Oh, is this a little hard for you?" Because like their mattress, their bed is like more soft. And I was like, it kind of is, but I've gotten used to it. So again, I was like, it's fine. She was like, well, if you want like a mattress topper, just let me know. I want you to be comfortable. And so again, I thought about it. I'm like, wait, okay, here's the universe again saying, like, here.
yeah.
And instead of pushing it away, being like, oh, I don't want to be greedy or ask for
Yeah.
too much. So I like went to her. I was like, actually, that would be really, really amazing if we could do that. And she was
Yeah.
like, done. Amazon bought, got it the next day. And I was like, I don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
And I really had this like, and this is so old and it's not, it really isn't resonant or like active in my life anymore. But
Yeah.
I really did have an old belief of like suffering, like to suffer to get what you want,
Yeah.
like working really hard to get what you want, or needing to suffer or struggle to get what you want. And it's
Mhm.
just like, it's so cool to not be in that vibration anymore.
Mm. And to be actively shifting it with your consciousness, because I think
Mhm.
that's an important thing to point out is like you're like aware of it and you're like,
Yes.
oh, you know what? Yeah, thank you. Like that would be
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes, yeah. It's
Thanks for
a
the offer. I can recognize that like tendency or the whatever initial knee jerk
yes. Habit. It's a
discomfort with
habit.
it. It's just a habit. And then just
Yeah.
be like, as I pause and reflect on it, I'm like, oh my God, this is like exactly what I was asking for. And you know, people do tend to be cooperative components. I mean, we think that like when we ask for more cash flow from the universe or something, that it comes from the IRS or it comes from the lottery or something like that, but like it
Yeah.
comes from friends. It comes
Yeah.
from the people around us who are pleased to it just comes in a natural, obvious way.
And like I think the biggest thing is being worthy of receiving. Like
Mm,
knowing you're worthy to receive that. Because it feels like, at least I'm speaking from my experience just now, when I was just as you were walking away reflecting on it, I'm like, that's like a little bit of an old belief that I'm not worthy to receive that or
mm.
worthy to say yes. And it's like, of course I am. Of course I
I
am.
I feel like there's a piece of that too that feels like we're taking away from someone
Yeah. Yep.
when they
Mhm.
give, that there's something about that that's like, I'm taking from their store
Yes.
of whatever, their money
Yes.
or something, right? Which is
Yes.
also based in lack and
Lack.
and and them not being powerful creators, for themselves.
Yes.
So, I think it's just a really interesting conversation I had, my own discomfort with purchasing that concert ticket
Yes.
created a really similar opportunity for me to ask and receive.
Yes.
And at first I was like, "No, you can't. Like you can't ask for this amount
Mhm.
of money or from this specific person." And then I like was having a little conniption about it because I wanted to go to EDC. The ticket was like $600 and it felt like a stretch. And I was like mad at myself that it felt like a stretch. And then I was like, oh my God, no, this is happening for me too. Whatever, it's
Mhm.
showing me where I can shift. Initially, my thought was like, oh, I'm going to open up to the infinite world of possibilities and maybe get the ticket for free. And I ended up
Mm.
purchasing it myself, but it was like way more delicious and satisfying than I could have thought than just someone giving me the ticket. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
you think like you just want the money in your bank account, like Abraham says, you think you just want it deposited there, but it's actually like all of the little pieces and the clarity that comes and the like moving from discomfort to comfort, all of that stuff is like actually why we kind of create these things for
Yes.
ourselves, like
Yes.
these experiences are happening for us for the movement and for the pleasure of the journey. And also, yeah, like I don't know. I got to buy the ticket, with my card and actually nothing's changed in my bank account, but the way I felt about the purchase was so different just because I'd asked for additional support.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I love what you just said because that's like part of what I wanted to talk about today too with you is like,
Mm,
and I think I mentioned this last time we talked too, but like this feeling of like really understanding now that it's not just about the destination.
yeah.
Like it is like that quote that, and I think I said this last time is like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I always kind
Yes.
of was like, that feels nice to say, but I don't really understand it, right? And now I'm like, no, I really get it. Like just what you said. It's like there's so much magic in the unfolding
Yeah.
of like your desires and your wishes all coming into reality, into the physical.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like when you reflect on it, you would never want it to just be like that.
You
Like,
think it's here. You think it's here. You think it's here. You think it's here. It's not
yes.
nearly as satisfying as you think it. You massage,
Yeah.
you feel this, you feel that, you get closer, you feel further, then it's here.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. And it's so exciting. And it's like all, like you were saying, like all the things you discover about yourself, all the expansion you experience, all the more clarity you get in the process. It's priceless.
It's what we came.
It's what we came here for. It's literally why we're here, right? It's like we know that we could have all of it right here right now if we so chose it. And that's not why we came to the human physical experience.
Yeah.
We came to create and like be in the creation process of it and
Yes.
feel like all those things that then bring it into the physical reality. And it's just like
Yes.
so juicy, so magical, so miraculous. Like I wouldn't want it any other way.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so
Yeah.
awesome. I
I
love it.
know. It reminds me of this quote I saw the other day, which is like right on the tails of this, or just like it says what we're saying. It was like, when you realize that there will always be more, you'll always have more desires, and you stop trying to get to them,
Mm,
like then you'll really understand like the deliciousness of like this life experience and the journey of just
yes.
you're always going to want more.
Yes, always. There's always more. Always more, always more. And that is so fun to even feel into. Like, oh my gosh, like even being here, there's even more from here. Like,
Yes.
yes. But like it really is like I savor in the present moment now. Like I get it. Like the present moment, like what's happening right here, right now is so magnificent,
Satisfying.
so satisfying, so
It's
satisfying.
so enough.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
so enough. And
chills.
and we know more is coming. It reminds me of that Abraham clip that I love, which is like at the very end, they say, and even for you, there is more.
Yes. Ah.
Even for you, there is more. Someone was asking me this the other day. Um, oh, if I just feel satisfied though, won't things never change if I just feel content? Won't I just get stuck in the rut of like the sameness? And I was like, if you really took the time to practice what that felt like, to be fully satisfied with your life as it is, you would see super quick evidence that it will change and quickly. That's what I mean by quick
Yes.
evidence. Like it will continue to change and get better. That's the key is like, I don't know, convincing yourself that you can just feel satisfied now.
Yes.
It's the tendency to be dissatisfied, to look for problems, to want to
Yes.
fix them, to focus on what's not right and
Not
want to fix
working.
it,
Yes.
like, oh,
Yes.
let's look at my finances and see if I can make them feel better,
Mm.
right?
What you don't want, focusing on what you don't want.
You get more of it.
Yes. It's so
So we're
fucking
getting
simple.
we're bringing our hands in now.
Yeah.
Like, yes, do an experiment.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to feel satisfied for a whole day. I mean, and
Yeah.
like, frankly, we don't want to feel the same emotion all the time. But like, if you think of
Yeah.
Abraham says there's only two emotions, they're satisfied and dissatisfied.
Yeah.
There's so many versions of satisfied.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
can feel calm and you're feeling
Yes.
satisfied. You can feel joy and you're feeling satisfied. You
Yeah.
can feel ecstasy, appreciation. You can feel the actual feeling of satisfied, which for me feels like after I ate a piece of pumpkin pie. I don't know
No.
why. It's like with
That's
whipped cream
funny.
on it. That's what like I get is like this warm, like
Mm.
spices feeling. Um,
Mm.
but
Mm.
like all versions of satisfied will lead you to more and more and more of what you want with ease. Like we're always on our way to what we want. We
Yeah.
just are.
Yeah.
Um, it's another analogy that I use a lot, which is like kind of strange, but like the stock market, they say like consistently the stock market is always increasing by
Yes.
10% like annually, whether it goes
Yes.
up and down like over historically over time, like it's always gone up 10% annually. And I think
Mm.
of that as like our life and our life experiences, like in general, they tend to be improving over time, but the more we focus on feeling good and focusing on what we're wanting, then our returns are like way better than 10%.
Mm. I love that. I've never heard that like analogy or
It's
reference to
kind of
that,
silly.
but it's so good because it's like everybody understands like the stock market and
Yeah.
like in general, what we hear in society is always about like, oh, the stock market's down. Oh,
Yeah.
the stock market's up. Like you don't
Yeah.
hear like, oh, it goes through these waves,
But over
but
time, it's always going up.
it's always going up. I love that. Thank you for that. I'm going to use that.
You're welcome. You can
I'm
thank Thomas
stealing.
for getting interested in investing in stocks during the
Oh,
pandemic.
great. Oh, great. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas.
That's awesome. I love
Because
that.
he talks about that a lot. He's like, well, I could just leave it in the stock market and be in a long-term like perspective with it and just let it do its
Yeah.
undulations and know I'm gaining 10%, which is better than it being in my savings, which
Yep.
is like 0.01%. And then he's like
Yes.
high yield savings and Roth IRA and the returns
Wow.
on those investments. And I'm like, thank you, because
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's awesome to know now. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that you love that.
I love it. That is so good. That's so good.
Anyway, I digress on stock
Mm.
market trends. Hmm. Did you go on your date this weekend?
Hmm. I did go on my date on Monday. Yeah,
Oh,
Monday.
okay.
That was a no.
That was a sifting and sorting.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed after
Mm,
because there was this, and this happens. This is just a natural thing that happens with like online dating, or like it's basically like blind dating, right? Like,
mm,
you're meeting someone through the internet and not
yeah,
meeting them in person. And then when you meet them in person is when you can get the full picture.
you can feel it.
And yeah, you can feel it. It's like it's just I knew it's so cool because I know instantly.
Mm.
Like I knew as he was walking up, I'm like, oh, nope.
I told you it's the way people walk.
And like just
But
even how he was looking, like eye contact, those
yeah.
little things are huge. Huge. And it's like and it's cool. I mean, it's all because obviously I walked away from the date knowing that it's helping me get clarity.
Mhm.
Like it's always happening for me
Mm.
to get more clarity and
Release attachment.
release attachment. And also, like, I just found this whole kind of particular situation with him. Like, I was telling you how right off the bat, he's
Mm.
like, I want kids, I want
Yes.
marriage, you know? And I'm like, that's so awesome that that's what I'm now calling in
Yeah.
because that's not what I was calling in before. And now that is like coming to me. And I will say it was like there's a lot of stuff that we had like in common, like interests and stuff, but there was underlying energy and vibration that I could feel from him that he's just a little jaded,
Mm.
and does, I think, wants to have a broad perspective on life, but
Mm.
doesn't.
Mhm.
And negativity seeps into that. Like I can feel the
Mm.
vibration, just a lower vibration, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm not trying to convince anybody or change anybody, like, so I'm just like, oh, we're just not a match in that way. Like
Yeah.
I'm really like he didn't ask me too much about myself. Like
Mhm.
I kind of almost felt like he is in that place where he kind of has a checklist of like what his partner.
Oh, he has a checklist.
Yeah, I kind of felt that. And like I lived such an unconventional life at this point that I don't fall into a template. Like I just don't. I'm
Hmm.
like so multidimensional at this point, and I am excited for the person. Like I've had this experience where there's a person I'm on a date with is like captivated by it, wants to know more, like tell me more how you live, tell me more. Like I didn't get that vibe from him. It
Maybe you're
was
in an
more,
interview with a corporate company
yes.
and
And
you didn't
like
pass.
yeah, like I don't think like, I don't have the established career and
Mm.
company in the structural, way like that he is maybe looking for. And anyways, it's funny. But it was fine. I mean, I can talk to anybody and have a good time. So it was like the date was fine. And then it always like the end is always awkward because it's like, bye. Oh, see you soon. Maybe not. It's like that whole like funny, like awkward bit where I just walked away like, oh gosh. Like I said, he said something like, maybe see you soon or something like that. I was like, yeah, take care.
Yeah, probably not.
Take care. Um, and then I didn't hear from him that night. But then yesterday he messaged me and was like, hey, like, I don't know if I felt a long term thing, but would you be down for something casual? And I'm like, is that translation for like, are you down to fuck?
You want to be friends with benefits or
And
term
so like
attraction? What'd you say?
I I responded and was like, because I'm not actually physically attracted to him.
Yeah.
Like it was more like it could have been there if
Build
the
over time.
yeah, like or if the vibe, if we really connected on a vibe, then I probably wouldn't have been attracted. Like he's
Yeah.
not a bad looking guy by any means, but none of it was there, right? So
Yeah.
um I'm not down to fuck. But so I responded and said, because I am like open to being friends. Like he's a single guy, single girl, like just getting together and like I kind of feel like now that he has taken me out of like a
That
potential part,
category, he could be
yeah,
more fun to hang out with.
yes, and like relaxed and like I think we actually would get on okay as friends. Like, and I like having guy friends. So I kind of danced around it, I'm not gonna lie, and I think I need to be more direct. But I said like I'm, totally there wasn't a spark for me. But I'm down to be friends. and then go grab a drink sometime. And then he responded and invited me over to his place this Friday for a
Mm,
drink. And I can't do this Friday. So I just said, no, I can't do that. And he suggested another day. But I think prior to that coming together, I just need to be clear that like when I mean friends, I mean like strictly friends,
mm.
not like, because casual, I think when people say casual, they do mean like
Yeah,
friends
are
with
you I
benefits.
think so, probably.
Yeah.
It's so interesting though, like I like my body, I like changed because I was like thinking like, man, well, what if you approach like all dates as like we're just seeing if we're friends? There's something that gets so muddied about when you're like, is this my long-term romantic partner?
Yes.
Is this my
Yes.
soulmate? Are
It
you my
puts so
soulmate?
much pressure on it. And people act different. Like I don't feel like I act that way because I don't go in with like that
Attachment.
intention or attachment to
It's
it at all.
attachment. It's an
It is
attachment to an
attachment.
outcome.
Yes. I could 100% like I've maybe he wouldn't admit this, but I 100% could feel that from him. Like
Well,
how
I
he's
also feel like, um, again, we don't need to like psychoanalyze everything, but I feel like him just asking, like, I get it if you want to gauge if someone wants to have kids and get married, but all like I have a friend who used to do that. That was such a big time important topic, and she'd ask it so right away that people like, I don't know, the dates never went past the first one because she was checking her boxes and looking, and they're like, I don't even know if we vibe, like, let
yes.
alone like, why are we asking these questions before we can even tell if there's like a resonance between our energy fields?
Yes.
I feel like that's an important first step.
Yes. And
Actually,
like
before even seeing if someone wants kids or not. I don't know. Maybe not.
well, and
Maybe not.
but I think like the apps are structured in a way where you fill in that information prior. So
Yeah.
like on my profile, it says I'm looking for I think I put like life partner,
Yeah.
marriage. I want kids. Like I have
Yeah.
that on my profile. So because it's on my profile, I don't feel like I need to have that discussion. Like
Yeah.
I'm matching with people that also have that on their profile. So that's
Right.
like a given now. Like from or at least that's
Yes.
like and so I was a little taken aback by him coming kind of at me with that question because I was like, well, it's on my profile. I want
Yeah.
to put it on my profile if that's not what I'm wanting. But I
Yeah.
get whatever. His own experience has led him to have these conversations
Right.
because his whole trauma and trigger is that his wife, their relationship ended because she didn't want to have kids.
Mm.
So they got a divorce because of that.
Dating is just so interesting. It's
Isn't
just
it? It's
so
so
interesting.
interesting. But like I just don't I don't know, Steph. I don't know if my I just caught like I even walked away from that date and I just feel like my person's in Europe. He
Mhm.
just feels like a European, and that doesn't mean that like that European's not here, like,
I feel
in
like
but
I
I
feel like maybe what you're coming to is like, I'm not gonna look, or I don't know, but like, I don't
yeah,
know. I feel like just let him find you.
exactly. I like all of the things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Allow it to come to me.
When you're
And
not looking for it. Like, that's
exactly.
the thing.
Exactly. Like I that feels so good. And another fun little tidbit that Kim
Oh.
said in our session.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget what you're about to say.
Okay.
Are you going to be able to remember?
I don't know. I think I might
No,
have already
say it.
forgot because you told me not to forget.
Oh no. And then you're like, forget, focus.
What did Kim say in your session?
Shit. Oh man. You just had like an aha.
I did. Oh,
You're like,
yeah. Okay, this
oh,
is it.
okay, go.
But it was more clear in the moment that I was like, "Oh my gosh." But, like, no, apply, like, satisfied and eager to more to, like, dating,
Yes.
and, like, you and I had this conversation on Saturday, and I realized I was saying like relationships have always been free flowing for me. And
Mhm.
I was reflecting on that later and I'm like, why? First of all, I don't know that I want to keep saying that. I don't know what that means. And, but particularly, I don't know if I want to keep saying that there have been other topics that have been not as free flowing.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
But what I realized what I was getting at is like some we feel more attachment to than others. And
Mhm.
relationships is one in particular where we have such a strong desire, and having children too, one way or
Mhm.
the other, such a strong desire and not for everyone, but for many people, attachment to an outcome that we tend to focus on the lack of it due to
Yes.
that attachment to it
Yes.
and focusing on like, oh, it's not here yet. When is it coming? Timelines with fertility and all that stuff. Thank
Oh my
goodness that
gosh.
has like extended in our modern era.
Thank
So it's
Lord.
like
Yes.
this woman was 56, had a child, whatever. Like that's
Yes.
not
Yes.
totally out of unheard of anymore. But um it's about like the
Yes.
attachment to a timeline, attachment to an outcome. And like the more you can just release that and be like, I'm going about my life. I
Yep.
know I want this thing. It's on its
Yes.
way to me. Whatever that thing is, you can apply that to relationship as well and be like,
Yes.
I'm not like making hard work of finding my partner. Oh, there's 7 billion fish in the sea. How do I find my partner within it?
Yes.
You go about your day. You
Yes.
have fun. You
I
feel
love this.
satisfied with what
Yes.
you're experiencing right now. And I think that it was both you saying that you've like released attachment and you feel like you're finally just feeling fine on your own.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you said that the other day. And then I saw like a Facebook post and it might have been an ad. And this woman said, once I stopped trying and I started loving just being alone, that's when I attracted the partner into my life. And I was like,
Yeah.
bing,
Yeah.
it
Yes.
works
Yes.
here too.
It works in every category of life, right? There's nothing that this is how it
You have to
works.
apply hard work at some point, or you have to, yeah, like you, this topic too.
This topic too.
Yeah.
And like, I think the important thing to point out, and at least for me, and I feel like you resonate with this too. And yeah, I'm curious actually, because I feel like this is what generally how it comes through on a feeling level is that when you're attached to something, naturally you're restricting. Like
Mm,
naturally, there's like a little bit of restriction that goes on, limitation, right? That goes
mm,
into like your system, and you can feel that, like, or at least I can when like I'm attached to a certain way of how something's going to look or how it's going to come about or when it's going to come. Any
mm.
type of attachment, it immediately restricts it.
Yeah.
And I see it as like these big channels, right? Of like flowing possibility, potential, light. And it's like we're kind of like gripping that channel. We're like gripping it where then it's not as free flowing. It's not just
Yeah.
allowing it to
Yeah.
flow to us.
Yeah. Well, like I'm thinking like of a very literal example of like if you're dating or you're wanting to date and you're looking for a partner and you have a very specific list of things you're looking for, you're um first of all not really trusting the universe to deliver to you exactly what you want because through
Yeah.
your life experience you ask, but also you're limiting who's available to you
Yep.
and you're looking through this very limited scope of like do they have blue eyes? Are
Yeah.
they 6
Yeah.
2? Like, are they above
Yes.
6 feet tall or, you know, um, are
Hmm.
they Catholic? Whatever. You know what I mean? Like we all have our,
Preferences.
yeah, preferences, but when it becomes like a requirement, it's
Yes.
inherently, there's limitation and
Limiting.
lack in that. It's just like,
Yes.
that kind of reminds me of like Abraham saying like all the people on the field
Yeah.
in boxes. Like I don't know if you ever heard of them describe like the football field and like everyone's in there
Mm-mm.
like religious categories and political affiliations and blah 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 blah. And I think that they tell that they say like, you know, uh it's the list analogy too. Like you go around with a list and you say like you have to be all of these things in order for me to like feel good. You know what I mean? So it's sort of
Mm,
the conditionality, the nature of like being conditional. But like, I don't know. I told you this last time, whether we share any of that or not. I told you that like I had a few things that like lightly was like, I don't really want to date someone who is in the army. I don't know. I just had an impression that people who went into the army were not emotionally available. I didn't want to date someone who was emotionally unavailable. I
yeah.
didn't want to date someone from the East Coast because I thought they would be really aggro and cuss in traffic. And Thomas is all of those things, even maybe at the beginning emotionally unavailable. And like,
Yep.
I love him so fucking much. And I'm so glad that we've spent these 4 years together. And if I made those deal breakers, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I would have missed out on things, but like, I'm so glad that I've had these experiences with him and those didn't get in my way. And frankly, when I met
Yeah.
him, I wasn't looking for anything. I was
Yes.
satisfied. I was in a relationship and I was
Yeah.
satisfied in it. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
wasn't dissatisfied trying to find like a rebound or something or,
Yep.
it's just like
Yes.
I was happy and looking for friends and he was chill too. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, friends or something more or whatever. His Tinder
Yeah.
profile literally says like coffee dates, friends with benefits, long-term relationship, like looking for it all.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just really a
Mhm.
sweet spot to be in with this topic too.
Yes.
This is the relationships episode. Now that we've
Yes.
talked about your date.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Just being like totally open.
Yeah.
It feels so good. And something, just like circle back to what you said, like how instead of like looking for like going out and efforting and like looking for trying to make it work, um, it's gonna like happen, when I'm out in the world doing my thing, living my life completely happy and satiated in myself in the
Yeah.
present moment.
Yeah.
And Kim did say in my session today that what was coming through around meeting someone was she just heard like transportation. And she
Yeah.
was like, that's like very broad, but she was like, it could be that you're in New York City and you share a cab with someone, or you're on the train going somewhere and there that person
Or
is,
you're
or what.
seated next to them on a Europe 8-hour European flight.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, that resonated so much. Like, I do feel for me, and I'm not like you've met Thomas through a dating app. I mean, many of my friends at this point have
Yeah.
gotten married to people that they met on a dating app. So I'm not like poo pooing that at all.
No, I'm not
But I
either.
have always just felt this natural flow and resonance of
Yeah.
it happening for me in that type of way, where it's just
Many
really,
people do. And that's like part of that combination of what's most satisfying for you. Like many people are
yes.
like, I don't want to have to go on dating apps. I'm like, then don't.
Yeah,
That's your
exactly.
indicator not to.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I wasn't like I said, I was in a relationship, one, but I was like on Tinder just like looking for rock climbers. It's just
Exactly.
like looking for
Exactly.
anyone who had like a rock climbing picture because I was in Sedona and there weren't a lot of rock climbers around.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is a way to find them. And it happened easily, but it is what I wanted to do. I wasn't forcing myself to do it. I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
happily scrolling one night, in the desert and then
Yes.
we matched.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who have met their significant others through those apps, but it's like it's not a yes or no. Like with any particular action, even like taking to like loop it back around to your finances, like if that felt good to look at them and be like, what,
Exactly.
like do it because it feels
Exactly.
good. But if it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. It's actually not even that you don't have to do it. It's your indicator not to do it. At least
Yes.
right now.
Yes. It's all about how you're feeling about something. There is no right or wrong or anything,
No,
but
there's
you
not.
gotta trust how you're feeling about it and take inspired action from that place instead
Yeah.
of like, I should be doing this because, in terms of like dating, like I should be on the dating apps because I'm single and would like partnership. It's like, well, does that feel the most abundant for me right now? Maybe
Mm,
not. Maybe so. I don't know. Like in this moment, kind of feels fun,
yeah.
but I'm not like attached to it. That's
Yeah.
that's how I feel right now in this moment. I do not feel attached to it. I'll stay on it. If someone comes through that feels like really fun to like, I love meeting up with new people. I love connecting with new
Yeah.
people and just like talking. I love being in masculine energy. There's something about
Oh,
that,
I
like
thought you meant you being like showing up as a,
oh.
and I was like trying to imagine what that looked like. Yeah. Yes, I
I
get it.
mean, I do have
You
masculine
like being
energy,
around guys.
yes,
I
obviously.
spend so much time around guys and I get it. Like there's
Yeah,
something
it's
nice
just
about that.
like there's something nice. It's nice to have that.
The
Like,
balance at least because we do
yes,
tend to be in very like receptive feminine energy
yes,
eh,
exactly.
with each other and with our other friends and groups that we're in, you know. So it's kind of
Yes.
nice that I guess that's a great way to put it, masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah. And it's just like fun to play in that realm. And I think like just so even back to like this guy, wanting to hang out again or whatever in whatever capacity, there's something like my friend Charlie, she was like, why? Like your time is precious. You're so valuable. Like what's he gonna bring to you? And I'm like, I think there's just something about being with now that like his story will be put to the side and
Yeah.
we can just chat and have some fun. There's something energetically with that too that supports this whole thing, right? Like supports this whole journey of, being ready for my person to find me. It's like
Yeah.
part of the fun of it, like of meeting new people and hanging out and having some fun.
Yes. 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 It's so funny because I had a human design reading before this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. With Thomas, right?
It was like a mutual thing, and there's this particular channel that's called the channel of discovery when it's like fully connected, and Thomas has it like fully connected, and he loves experiences for the sake of experiences.
Yeah.
He just like likes them. Like he can actually Isabella's described it as the yes channel, the channel that just says yes to experiences.
Mm,
And honestly, I don't have that. I mean,
yeah.
like literally in my human design, it's not there. I have
Yes.
half of that channel and it's called or I have the gate of integrity, which is half of the channel. And I have a few other like unfull channels where they're like gates of like the way Isabella described my portion of it was like determining if there's beauty and value in this for me and having like more discernment of just like no, not for me, like not even worth my time. And
Hmm.
I can see how anyone can have any experience that feels good to them, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like
Hmm.
for me, and maybe Charlie has a little bit of like my vibe, which is just like
Yeah.
nah, like I'd much rather just like, you know, I don't know. I'm not attached to this outcome, but like if there wasn't like a ton of fun energy, like I'm probably not going to go for that again. And Thomas will just be like, yeah, like I don't even think he's like assessing like energy.
Yes.
He's just like, well, they invited us. We should go.
Right. Yes.
Like that is
Yes.
not enough for me to say yes.
Oh, how funny. Now I'm like so curious if I have that channel because I
I
feel
know
like
I
I
am too.
do. Like,
I know. I know. I'm going to actually look really quick.
yeah, I'm so curious.
Because I have your chart right here, so why not?
Of course, of course.
Let's see. Oh, yours is totally open actually.
Oh, wow.
That particular channel. Yeah.
Huh.
There's
That's
no
interesting.
definition within it.
Huh.
But that's not to say that that you don't have curiosity
Right.
and
Yeah.
you're not open to experiences, but
Right.
it's just a funny thing to kind of tie back to this reading that I just had. And also, she literally had this whole thing that was like Thomas and I, and like our shared chart is finding the balance between femininity and masculinity.
Oh my gosh,
So
so
we talked
funny.
all morning about masculinity and femininity and how
Wow.
we both sort of bring out the best in others.
Mm.
And he gets to really
I love
be
that.
more in his masculine. It's like almost activated more with me, like whether the design chart says it or not, like I can feel that to be true. I
Yes.
feel like um he feels more of a sense of purpose and like
Mhm.
drive to accumulate and provide and be like literally with like material stuff because he's
Yeah.
providing for the family, like for me and
Yeah.
Katie. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so
And it's so
sweet.
sweet. And I also um get to like receive more and relax more.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to be quite dominant and masculine just in my
Mhm.
personality and like,
Mhm.
also like just I tend to have quite a bit of structure. I feel like just in my personality, like you can probably just like get it from me. It like emanates this
Mhm.
like, yes, it's like warm and inviting, but also like, kind of like no nonsense and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
in Thomas like kind of stepping in and being like the one that creates the container and the structure, like I just get to like melt into it
Mhm.
in such a delicious way that as I
Mm.
really allow myself to more and more, truly through the prodding of Gina's like support and mentorship over the years, she's
Mm.
just like, he wants to do this. He's doing this because he wants to. Like, this is
Yes.
him being, giving to you in the way that's most satisfying to all that stuff. And like, receive it, receive it, receive it. Kind of like we were talking
Yes.
about at the beginning of this conversation. Like,
Yes.
the more I just like let myself like melt into that, I like the contributions that I make are like powerfully energetic and like
Mm.
powerfully from a place of love and appreciation and like space holding.
Yes.
Um and
Mm.
not one so much of like action taking. And I don't know, I
Yes.
just feel like our relationship has really like allowed me to explore that on like a deeper level. So I'm so
Love it.
so grateful that I didn't say no, he's from New Jersey, I'm not dating him.
Exactly.
He was in the army for
Exactly.
7 years and he's from New Jersey and he's into
Hell no.
punk music. He's a BMXer.
So funny. My gosh. I love that. That's not fun. That's so cool to hear that particularly. Because I think that there's a lot, actually I have two good friends in particular that they did make a list of what
Mm,
they wanted,
mhm,
and then their partner showed up that matched that list.
mm,
And so you kind of hear that story a lot, right? Of like
yeah,
getting
like
really focused on what you
specific.
want and specific and
Vision
like
boarding.
yes, like all that stuff. And I love kind of this flip on it because it's not that
Mm,
you didn't have your intention and like the feeling of what you wanted. Because when I feel into like your relationship with Thomas, there was a feeling that he was matching within you, a desire of how you wanted to feel with somebody that matched.
mm.
And
There was just
that,
a draw. It was
yeah,
like the
and
tide. It
it's
just
like an energy, you know?
that
It's
I
not,
didn't wanna deny
yeah, it's
because of
not the
any
external.
preconceived notions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it just felt good. It drew
Yes.
me in. I can't describe our relationship in any way other than that. I was presented with like another like viable option at that same I mean, I had a boyfriend and I was
Yeah.
presented with another option and like I just like was drawn to this exploration with Thomas in such a big way. Like
Yeah.
just such a strong way.
And I think that's like another example of how like you can't get this wrong, and like
Yeah.
trusting that the universe is bringing to you exactly what you true
That's
like
what
your
I
true
that's
desire.
what I wanted to touch on. Yeah,
Yes.
because you were like, yeah, that there's a notion that like that we need to be very specific. It's not based in trust.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I guess where I'm at now is like I want to steep myself fully in trust and knowing, and that trust and knowing to support that particular thing is like um the universe knows what I want. I'm
Yes.
always asking. Abraham says
Yes.
this like step one is you ask, and there's nothing you have to actually do to ask. It's just you living your life experience. And through the contrast and sifting and sorting through like experiences, you are asking.
Mm-hmm.
It happens naturally.
Yes.
And step two is it's given.
Yes.
Like there's the five
Yes.
steps with
Yes.
Abraham. Step one is you ask through your life experience, just through living. Step two is the universe has provided a path to it. It's done.
Mm.
Step three is that you find a way to get in the receptive mode
Ah, yep.
so that you can receive whatever the impulse is, you know, the impulse to go on Bumble or the impulse to whatever, go
Yep.
on that train instead of this. They
Yes.
line
Yes.
up the cooperative components through your path of least resistance. Even the universe knows what's your path of least resistance.
Yes. Yes.
And then step four is you stay in the receptive mode. So three and four are the
Mm.
same thing. Three
Mm-hmm.
is you get in it, and
Keep
four is you
going.
get good at it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just get
Yeah.
better and better at it.
Yeah.
And then step five is like what the name of this podcast is. It's happening for you. Step five is contrast occurs and you realize you appreciate it at a certain point because you realize that contrast is there for me to get even more clear on what I'm wanting, to ask for more,
Mm. Mm.
to ask for that next thing,
Yes.
to become aware of my desires
Yes. Because that's the thing, you're not even aware of it
until
until
like
you, yeah, you experience the contrast, or sometimes what you maybe then just, figure out, oh, I actually don't want that, or I
yeah.
want more of this. And
I mean, it doesn't have to be drama or contrast. And
no, no, no,
contrast
no,
isn't always dramatic, but like it doesn't have to be that to like show you have a
no.
desire. But sometimes we have long-standing desires that like we've stopped letting ourselves be aware of
Yep.
because it hasn't come, and that's through our own focus and attention
Hmm.
and doubt that it can, and whatever, just resistance, in general. Like
Yes.
the universe, like here, 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 and we're like resistant to it. So
Yes. Yes.
um but
Yes.
when something contrasting does point out a desire to you in a bigger way, it's like, well, that's happening for me too, because it's showing me like, oh yeah, I do want this thing. And I wasn't really, there was something, some belief that was telling me I couldn't, or doubting
Yep.
it or whatever. I let it lie dormant. And so here it is in my awareness
Yeah.
again. I do want
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh,
Well, this was so fun. Oh, I picked a card.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
What is it?
A new
A
earth.
new earth. What does it say underneath?
It's happening.
I saw that.
Yeah. Keep holding the vision.
It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you could probably guess what this means, but I'll just preface that it just says, like, don't give up now. You're closer than you think. Um,
That's great to hear actually, because I've been like, oh, all my energy about like doing things with the podcast have been
oh, this is
like just
perfect
like
then.
stilled,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna release this, right?
Yeah. I know. Kim's like, when are you guys going to release it? I was like, I don't know, but it feels soon.
I I'm just like, oh
We'll get
yeah,
there. We'll get there.
it's happening. Hold The vision.
Hold the vision. I know it's hard to hold the frequency of a new age when it feels as if so much is crumbling and so many are losing faith. This is your sign that you're facing the right direction. You have a great gift in being able to see the potential of things before they exist. Tend to the new seeds, dream them into existence. Don't lose faith now. Keep your focus fixed. The
Mm,
world needs more dreamers like you, more people with hope in their hearts. The road ahead may not be plain sailing. Ushering in a new age in times of change never is. You're being encouraged to remember that what you've been working toward for so long is almost here. Don't question yourself. Don't waver. Dig your devotion deep. For if you do, in the not too distant future, you'll be able to sit back and watch all that you've so carefully planted and nurtured grow and bloom. It's possible. Keep focusing on your dreams. You're closer than you think.
nice.
Yeah, love that.
That's a good reminder.
It is. Again, releasing that timeline.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
happening. It's happening. That's so
It's
funny.
happening, and like I think I was like, oh, there now that we've like come up with this new idea, there's so much work to do.
Yeah, I thought I
And
had that thought come across my mind as well.
yeah, and it's like, no,
No.
it doesn't have to be hard work. We get this we get to continue to let it be easy and satisfying and perfect timing. Again, like we didn't rush, you didn't rush the podcast last summer. We didn't rush it in the winter.
Yep.
We don't have to rush it in the spring.
No, exactly. Every season, we don't have to rush.
What's the rush?
Yeah. Thanks for listening. You can visit us at www.itshappeningforyou.com for more information about upcoming episodes and previous episodes and just learn more about us. Here we go.
And a 3, and a 2, and a 1, and a welcome
Welcome
to,
to
right?
It's
But let's
Oh, I thought
start from the beginning.
It's Happening For You podcast with Robin Meharry.
And Stephanie Lentini, the podcast about mastering the creation process and living a life of extraordinary possibilities.
Join us as we just talk every week and chat and share.
Have way too much fun. We love you.
We love you.
Thank you for being here with us.
And the beat drops.
And the beat drops.